Hey there everybody, this is a quick little video walkthrough of my current racing rig. I do play flight simulators on this from time to time, but mostly it's used for what you'll see here, which is racing. And let me just kind of jump right in and show you guys the various components. The first thing you'll see is the Obutto. This is the Ozone cockpit system, which that's kind of all the hardware that bolts everything together. So that's the chair, the mounts you'll see in the back for the speakers, the mount for the wheel, for the shifter, for the keyboard over to the left, and the pedals, and most importantly, the monitors. So we can kind of start right here with the monitors. That's three Samsung 27-inch 1080p displays. You can't really tell it here, but they're the new curved displays, which, you know, I thought for racing would be a little bit more immersive, and I think I have to admit they're not really. The curve effect is so minor that it just really doesn't, you just don't see it in game. It does. They're still great monitors, but it really wasn't worth tracking down curved displays for it. As I talked before, this is the Obutto seat. You'll see two. These are some of the Logitech. They're a little bit older, but the THX compatible surround speakers. We talked about the screens. Looking down at the main component, this is the Thrustmaster TX 500 wheel. This is actually the one that works with the Xbox as well. I forget the exact model number. I'll put it in the comments. I bought this originally because I thought I might do some dual racing where I would use this rig for iRacing and Project Cars and things like that. And then I still wanted to be able to drive and play games like Forza on the Xbox One. Well, that quickly ended primarily because once you go to a 3-screen setup like this, playing something like Forza in single screen, it's just not worth it anymore. On the wheel here in the center, you'll see a little shift light display. This is from Sim Racing Hardware. It's a really great little piece of gear that you can configure multiple things on. It's got shift lights across the top, speed indicator, gear indicator, time, all that different stuff. You'll see the flashing lights around the edge. Those are fully programmable to whatever you want. So for example, you'll notice here I'm doing some night racing. I can turn, by this switch here, I can turn the headlights on and off, and when I do that on the wheel, you'll see the blue lights turn on and off, showing me that that the headlights are on. You can do the same thing. There's not an indicator for it here, but while I'm showing the switches, you can do the same thing for windshield wipers if you're driving in the rain. And that's a little segue to that row of switches you see there. That's also from Sim Racing Hardware. It's their Sim-GTE, I think is what it is. Again, I'll put it in the comments. Each one of the buttons and knobs are fully programmable. You just saw that I've got some mapped to headlights and to wipers. Over there on the bottom right, you'll see some different radio knobs. I've got those mapped to brake bias, to front and rear sway bar stiffness, so you can adjust that on the fly. Over on the left, you've got some different buttons, like a safety button. I use this top one for ignition, so that turns the car on and off. And then this is the starter button. You'll notice we're sitting here, we're at 0 idle. And when I hit the starter button, we're now, you can barely see the gauge, but we're now started and moving a little bit. I'm going to turn that back off, which kills the car. You can see I've got it set on the shift indicator here. If you can see those blinking, that's when the car is stalled. If I start it now, those go out. It might be a little hard to see in this video. And then if I do it again, they're blinking again because the car is stalled again. Down below, you'll see the next piece of pretty nifty gear, which is the Fanatec. These are I think they're the V2 Elites, something like that. Again, I'll post it in the comments. You'll notice that the clutch and brake are both mounted pendant style, inverted, while the throttle is still floor style. That's just kind of the way I prefer it. You can get this kit from them to let you invert. You can invert any of the pedals in any combination you want. It's pretty simple to do it. I just kind of felt like this was a more realistic feel and approach. And I will say those pedals are one of the biggest upgrades in terms of lap times that you can make. Having a great brake pedal makes a huge bit of difference. Over on the left, a little keyboard tray. I just got this little backlit wireless Logitech keyboard. It's really handy because I usually kind of game in the dark. Over here on the right, you'll see the main PC that runs everything, kind of that silver box right there. Pretty high-end machine, Core i7, 4 gigahertz, 32 gigs of RAM. It's got the Titan Z 12 gig video card in it, which is pretty much the biggest video card or the beefiest you can get on the market right now. Over here on the right is the sub for the speakers, and then the little amp there you see is for the ButtKicker. I'll see if I can show you that in a second. It's a little device that bolts to the chair to actually shake and vibrate the rig, so as you drive over things like curves and bumps in the road, you actually feel it. You feel the engine rev, you feel impacts, all of those different kind of things. Really just adds a nice layer of immersion to the game. On top of that, that little device you see with the blue light is essentially a USB sound card. You do have to use a secondary sound card to run the ButtKicker, and so that's what that USB device is for. You see a little USB hub up there in the back. A set of, you'll see the two fans on both sides. There's actually a little fan control on the back side of the dash system, so that as you're driving, you can adjust the fan speeds. You know, if you're getting a little hot, a lot hot, whatever. There's also a volume knob tucked back there that's a little difficult to get to. You can see the center channel speaker there and the right speaker and left speaker there bolted underneath. Up on top is the track IR sensor. That's a head sensor, so that it tracks as you turn your head left, right, and such. It actually dynamically changes your view. I may try to set that up a little later and do a separate review of it. Honestly, I'm not a big fan. It hasn't really worked out nearly as well as I hoped. Down here you'll see I've got it's actually a 7-speed gated shifter with reverse. A little homage to my first track car, a Nissan 350Z. That's the shift knob from my old Z that unfortunately died on a racetrack. So a little piece of it got to live again. And let's see if I can show you the ButtKicker down here. Yeah, you see the little device there, the little red and black device. That's the shaker that I mentioned that actually, as I mentioned, vibrates the seat. And yes, those are my actual driving shoes from my car. And yes, I do wear them in game because it really makes that big a difference with the pedals, because with this level of realism, I do use full heel toe for shifting and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's pretty much a walkthrough of all the hardware. Here in a little bit, I'll shoot a video of the game in motion, of me actually driving it, so you can kind of get a sense for it. I will say, while I'm excited for Oculus Rift that's coming, the triple screen setup right here is it's a really, really nice setup. As wide as the view is, the level of realism that you get out of it is pretty extreme. So anyway, ask any questions in the comments below, and I'll see what I can do to help you guys.